What up, y'all? It's your boy Martine, aka the Boxing Purist. Welcome once again to the Truth and Absolute channel, where I speak the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me, good God Almighty. Okay, y'all, if you're new to the channel, welcome to my channel. Hey, it's like home. Go down to the comment section, talk boxing if you want to talk boxing. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button, the like button. You know what I'm saying? It helps the video gain a little momentum. I'm learning as I go. You know what I'm saying? Truth and Absolute Boxing channel. I try to keep it non-biased. I try to kick it straightforward. Some things I say will upset some people, but guess what? Whatever. It doesn't matter. Anyway, let's get into this. I want to talk about the face of boxing superstar, Canelo Alvarez, okay? Saul Canelo Alvarez. Now, obviously, Canelo right now is building up his fight with Edgar Berlanga. If you guys been keeping up, you'll see that Monday they had a presser in New York. Tuesday they had a presser in L.A. where things got a little bit more heated up than they were in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? So it's all good, though. It's all good. It sells the fight. That's what it's all about. Nothing personal, right? Nothing personal. You know, it's a battle of machismo. Who's going to come out on top? That's all it is. Nothing crazy. You know, these dudes are probably going to go get dinner afterwards. Let me give you all a quick, interesting fact, okay? This Puerto Rico-Mexico rivalry goes way, way back, even further back than the fight I'm about to mention to you guys. But when Julio Cesar Chavez fought Hector Macho Camacho, after the fight, Chavez took Hector with him to Mexico, where they went on like a week or two party binge. Okay, so it's not always, I mean, they got to amp the fight up, but a lot of the times after, you see good sportsmanship, or they even become like brothers like they did. Of course, Hector Macho Camacho, God rest his soul. But anyway, what I want to talk about, you know, in the last few months, ever since the Turkish dude, I cannot remember his last name, the guy from Saudi Arabia that's coming over here spending all kinds of money, right? Ever since he stepped into the boxing scene, there's been a lot of talk about fights because he's obviously the one that has a lot of money to put up with a lot of big fights, right? So, of course, one of those fights talked about a lot is Canelo Alvarez versus David Benavidez, right? Another one that kind of snuck into the picture was Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford. Now, both David Benavidez and Terence Crawford were pretty much given fights to showcase against. They weren't fighting bums. That's not what I'm saying. However, they were matched up because it's a sport of boxing. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? You only remember the fighter's last performance a lot of the time. So both of them won their fights. David Benavidez beat that guy clearly. Terence Crawford beat the dude clearly. However, they did not showcase, they did not bring the star power that they were put there to do against that level of opponent. You know what I'm trying to say? One of them was off like a 4-year layoff. Madrimov only had like 10, 11 fights under him, which again, they're not bums, but they weren't, you know, other top tier guys. They were supposed to look good, possibly get knockouts, all of that good stuff. That sells fights to casuals, to purists, to everyone, right? So he's the one that's been wanting to put the money up for it. Now, in my personal opinion, Turkey, Ali, whatever his name is, has all the money in the world. I feel like he's somewhat familiar with the sport of boxing. I think he's familiar with the business part, you know, what you put out is what you're going to get back in, and, you know, a lot more revenue than that. But I think that he looks at it from a casual fan. That's where he put together in his head Canelo versus Terence Crawford. Because when you look at the pound for pound list and you look at top names, you see these guys are semi-close in weight. Why not make that fight, right? But in reality, when you're real with yourself, you're like, that's not a fight that I want to see. Would I watch it? Absolutely. We're boxing fans. We're suckers for these fights. We're going to watch it, right? But we didn't necessarily demand it. The fight for the Benavidez and Canelo that demand was definitely there. The Crawford fight, not so much. And after the last performance by Crawford, obviously now it's questioned how he would look going up 2 weight classes, because he just simply did not look the same at 54 at his first fight, right? Now, I like Edgar Berlanga made a point. You know, he was talking about something, and I kind of want to paint this picture. Berlanga says the higher you go in weight, the better the boxer is able to absorb punches. That's why you see some fighters sometimes come in overweight intentionally to be able to absorb the punches of the opposing fighter a lot better. So imagine, you know, let's just think of a carnival game, right? They got those cans, those bottles that you got to knock over with the softball, okay? Let's just say you got the same exact softball. Your tool is exactly the same. The only difference is now it's a little heavier. Okay, so it's a little heavier when you throw it. You're not going to throw it as fast. You're not going to throw it as easy. You're going to have to get used to it. On top of that, the bottle that you're throwing it now is not the one that you're used to. This one is a little bigger. It's made to take a little bit more punishment than what you're used to. Therefore, you're not going to knock it over as easy. That's kind of an analogy, so y'all see what a difference it makes moving up in weight in boxing. Now, when you're talking about 2 additional weight classes already above 154, it's just way too much. It's too much to ask of Crawford. It's just not bogus. What I'm trying to get at though, okay, if you've been on social media, if you've been on Twitter, if you've been any of these things, you'll be seeing that Canelo pretty much said, listen, we either do it my way or we don't do it at all to Turkish Ali or whatever his name is. So then Turkey Ali, sounds like a little spoiled prince, right? And then he goes on Twitter and pretty much says that Canelo, after the Bivol fight, or pretty much he's saying first he doesn't care if Canelo doesn't respect him or not, that he doesn't care about that. Then he started saying that after the Bivol fight, Canelo only went after easy fights and all this nonsense or whatever. So obviously Turkish is bitter. What I think is bothering him a lot more than anything is because if you guys saw the event at the BMO Stadium, that Terrence Crawford card, everybody, Oscar De La Hoya, Roberto Duran, everybody was kissing this dude's butt. They don't even call him by his name. They call him His Excellency, right? I even saw the tweet put out by Chavez because he was at the event thanking His Excellency in Spanish. I won't call him that. I'll call him, I'm not even saying his name right? I like the idea in the beginning when he came over here and trying to make these fights. What I don't like is what these events are becoming, right? I don't like what these events are becoming. I don't like the stuff that they were shouting out. And I didn't like, I'm gonna be real with y'all, when they had the Saudi Arabia flag up top, I felt it just didn't feel right being that we're here in the States. Now, I know that we see flags in the States from other countries all the times, especially in the world of sports. But what that flag means, what it says in that lettering, it says, there's no God but Allah. Muhammad is the prophet of Allah. Okay, it just didn't feel right being in there, but that's a different conversation. So pretty much, Canelo's not bowing down to Mr. Turkey Ali. Canelo is not jumping at the idea of working with him. Canelo is pretty much like, yo, listen, I don't like the way that he approached me. Not approached me. He's like, I don't like the way that he communicated with me. And quite frankly, I don't need him. Okay, if we're going to work together, we're going to do it my way, Canelo is saying to this dude. And I love it. I cannot explain how much I love that because that, my friends, is what a boss does. That's exactly what a boss does. My way or the highway, offer me whatever. I'm not going to fold to your little playing field, right? And I respect Canelo for doing that, y'all. Y'all got to remember something about Canelo. Canelo is not American. Canelo was not raised in America. Canelo was raised a lot different than a lot of us were raised. Canelo, you see that respect is a big thing to him, right? He likes to be respected, or he likes to give respect, therefore he expects respect regardless of who it is. So it doesn't matter if it's a dude from Saudi Arabia who's a multi-billionaire, you still got to come at him respectful or he won't work with you. And guess what? I like that. I like that. Now, this is another thing that I kind of overlooked in the past, you know what I'm saying? When we're talking about weight classes, when we're talking about fighters moving up, when we talk about fighters chasing greatness, this is something that hit me, and Canelo made a good point because of, the pressure to fight certain fighters. And Canelo said, I already went through that. When I was at 154, you guys kept saying, I won't fight Triple G. I won't fight Triple G. I won't fight Triple G. My first fight at 160 pounds was Triple G. Now, could y'all think about that for a minute? Think about all the active fighters today that they just blow up into these stars. Which one of them are jumping up in weight and challenging the top guy in their first fight? No build-up fight, no lead-up, no nothing, right? Straight up, my first fight at 160, Triple G. That's what Canelo did. You got to respect that. On top of that, Canelo put it out there that in reality, he's like a 160 natural, but he's obviously more comfortable fighting at 168, probably so he doesn't have to cut that much weight and have such a hard training camp, I'm assuming. But he pretty much said, I'm a natural 160 pounder. Now, you got to figure, man, when you're seeing all these fighters jump up in weight and not being able to do damage that they did at a lower weight class, once again, you got to respect what Canelo could do in inside the ring. And now what he's doing outside the ring, being his own boss. So good for you, Canelo. I'm glad that you didn't bow down to that dude like everyone else is. And that's all it is, man. And that's all it is. So I don't see the Crawford fight happening. I see a bigger chance that the Benavidez fight happens here in the near future. That's another thing I was reading. I believe it was on Twitter, or it wasn't on Twitter, somewhere. But I guess pretty much that David Benavidez is hoping to take or to make the fight against him and the winner of Beterbiev and Bivol on the same date as Canelo's date for next year in May. Right? So we'll see what happens with that. We'll see if it's just a lead up to something. Anyway, y'all, drop a comment down below. Let me know what y'all think about everything going on with Canelo and the Turk dude. Drop a comment down below. Let's talk boxing. Much love. God bless and peace.